All right, let's start. Good afternoon, everyone. This will be our webinar about the Cybersecurity Radar, Foundation for Agile Security Innovation. And today we will have two speakers, Reinder Wolthuis and Corine Bonte. They will take you to the story, and I will be the facilitator today. So these are the contents for today. We will start off with an introduction. Then we will explain you more about the security radar. After that, we will tell you how we developed the radar. And this will be an interactive part. So please keep your phones at your hand because you will need it. Then we will talk about the practical use of the radar, and we close off with a recap and outlook. So what will we talk about in this webinar? You will learn more about the PCSI program, the Partnership for Cyber Security. And we will tell you about a number of important cybersecurity trends. We will tell you how the radar is developed, so which methodology we used. And we will tell you about how the radar contributes now and in the future to cyclical innovation projects. So for who is this webinar interesting? It's for everyone who wants to learn more about the trends in cybersecurity, for people who are curious about the PCSI program, and for people who are interested in what the radar actually involves and how it is made. Also, all the questions you can ask in the Q&A of this webinar, and at the end there will be some time where we will answer them. And also all the questions, we will download them, and at the end we will answer them on our website. And now I would like to give the word to Reinder to give the introduction.
Yeah, thank you, Virag. So I wanted to give a short introduction of the PCSI, the Partnership for Cybersecurity Innovation. My name is Reinder Wolthuis. I'm the program manager of the PCSI, and I'm one of the initiators. And I just wanted to start with why are we doing this? Well, as ENISA's threat landscape report already back in 2017 says that we are far from striking the balance between defenders and attackers. So in fact, the attackers have the advantage. There's a lot of investment in defense mechanisms and methods to defend against attackers, but it's not paying off. It's too little. The attackers are in the advantage. And why? Well, we are increasingly using complex and dynamic ICT infrastructure, this hybrid solutions with cloud solutions, but also very new technologies with virtual machines. And so this is a very difficult to see whether a disturbance is an attack or whether a disturbance just is a disturbance. Also, the number of attacks and the complexity of attacks is increasing. There are increasingly state-sponsored attacks by nation states, but also criminal organizations get more organized, have professional methods to attack companies to gain money. So the increasing number and complexity of attacks is something, and also attacks get more automated. So that means that attacks will happen faster. So while the response usually still is human-centered, if you have a security operating center, there are people sitting behind screens watching whether the organization is under attack or not. So this is a discrepancy. And last but not least, also there's a lack of skilled cybersecurity staff, which prevents a good defense. So what can we do about this? Well, we need to innovate. That's the conclusion. And we do not need to innovate individually. If you do innovation, of course, it's a good start. But because the number of attacks is that large, we need to collaborate. So when you look on the right side, we need a joint effort, focus on innovation, where we collectively combine expertise and knowledge So we are better prepared to handle the attacks coming towards us. So it's much more efficiently. So we already have some experience with this. The last 6 years, starting 2014, we had a shared research program, cybersecurity, where we TNO cooperated with ABN AMRO, Achmea, ING, and the Volksbank and Rabobank. And there we did a lot of interesting stuff. I give you an overview here. I will not go into detail in every achievement we had in the SRP. So this is an overview of the shared research program, overview of results. So we did a lot of nice things already in the last 6 years. I just wanted to go briefly into 3 examples of the results of shared research. So we did a quantifying risk project where usually security risk assessments were done asset-based, so on an asset, and also quite qualitative. We developed a method using Bayesian belief networks, which models a risk and makes it more quantitative, especially the probability part, and which also allows for information feed into the model, so risk can be more actual, so you have actual insight into risks. Another example is self-healing security, because the number of attacks and the speed of attacks is increasing. We need to look at new methods to defend ourselves, and one of the examples is the human immune system. So we looked at the human body, how it defends against viruses, and we learned a lot of that. So we are now trying to use the method the human body uses to terminate and auto-generate cells. We also use that in ICT infrastructures using containers, and this seems to be quite successful. The last example I wanted to give is the cyber behavior. So of course the human being is most often the weakest link in security. And what we try to do here is to get insight into root causes of what's causing this behavior. And then we split up between knowledge, what does someone know, motivation, does someone want to do something, and facilitation, does a person has the right tools to be aware of things. And this all with the results of this research, we want to also develop new interventions so people are better equipped to defend against attacks. So we had this very successful program for the last 6 years. But after 6 years, we evaluated, and what we conclude is that we want to be better visible to the outside world. I heard someone say that the shared research program cybersecurity is one of the best kept secrets in the Netherlands. So we want to be more visible. We want to better control the innovation activities. In the shared research program, it was quite, the projects were quite long. And sometimes at the end of a project, we were in doubt whether it was still actual. So we want to control the innovation activities and also align them with the business need of our partners. And also we need to improve the selection process of innovation topics. This was done like in pizza sessions in the shared research program. We wanted to do this in a more modern way. And we also wanted to expand the collaboration with additional partners. I come back to that at the end of the presentation. And also find a way of working that increases the enthusiasm of the participants. Participants usually are willing to participate in projects, but they also want to get something out of it. And when it's more fun to work in such a project, then you will better motivate people to also contribute. So we came up with this new partnership for cybersecurity innovation, which started last July. We made an innovation process. Well, the radar, Corine will tell you everything about that, is one of the important things in that. So the radar has security trends. Our steering committee selects trends every twice a year. They select trends. Each trend we are trying to do brainstorming ideation workshops to come up with concrete projects. They are selected in a Dragon's Den kind of setting by our steering committee. And then they go into a stage innovation process where we first explore the idea. When it's still a good idea, then we go into a proof of concept. When the proof of concept is a good proof of concept, then we'll go into the pilot. And then at the end, we'll look into exploitation possibilities. So this is a process where we have more control on the innovation outcome. So the key message is that the cybersecurity radar, like I just introduced, is the foundation of this new innovation process. And it allows for strategic innovation steering. And also it connects the innovation process to business needs. So it's like demand-driven innovation. And also it provides a good platform to select the right innovation topics. And I will now pass on to Corine, who will present more about the way it was developed, how it looks like, and how we use it in the innovation process.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Corine Bonte. And together with Virag Szijjarto, we created the cybersecurity radar. And today I'm going to present this to you. And I hope you enjoy it. As you already know, because Reinder told you, the trends on the radar are the starting point for the team selection part of the innovation cycle of the PCSI program. And now first, I want to show you the complete radar. So here it is. This is the radar, and there is a lot to see. So step by step, I would like to give you an explanation of what you see here. So what exactly is the radar and what does it represent? So first of all, what is the cybersecurity radar? Well, it is a result of research for the most important trends, as well as experts' opinions about these cybersecurity trends. And the opinions are about the degree of opportunity or threat level for an organization. It is also about the expected impact for an organization, and that can be positive as well as negative. It's also about the expected degree of ability to deal with it within the PCSI program collaboration. And it is an estimation of time of impact. And all these elements are visualized on the radar, and I will tell you how. To begin, each trend is depicted as a circle on the radar. So the number within the circle is the number of the trend. And besides the radar, we have a trend list. And there you can find the corresponding title and description of the trend. And the trend list consists of 33 trends in total. Whether the trend is an opportunity or a threat is indicated by the color of the circle. And the colors show the average score of the opinions about the opportunity or threat level of each trend. Next, the expected time, so when the trends will have impact, can be seen by their position in a circular radius. So the further the trend lies from the inner center, the later it will become relevant, according to the experts. And the time frame we used was until 2025. And then finally, the relevance of trends, they grow towards the center of the radar. So further to the left or the right side, the trends become less relevant. So it doesn't matter on which side trends are located. And the relevance is then the average of the expected impact and the expected fit with the PCSI program. So that is the explanation of what you can see on a complete cybersecurity radar. And I can imagine you're also curious about what kind of trends are on the radar. And therefore, I would like to give away the top 10. And before I do that, it is important to know that the trends are a bit more focused on the financial sector due to the fact that the partners within the PCSI program right now are only financial institutes. And therefore, the top 10 is also more focused on their needs. The first trend is the growing use of artificial intelligence, and we define AI as the ability of systems to display intelligent behavior or human intelligent behavior with automatic decisions or decision support as a result. And these smart algorithms offer new possibilities for linking different data sources. And AI algorithms can play a role in prevention, protection, detection, and response of cyber attacks. And of course, thereby, it is important to make proper use of AI systems. This is necessary to avoid wrong conclusions. And furthermore, on the attacker side, there's a threat because cyber criminals can also use AI technology. The next one is about the exponential growth of rich data sets, and especially in the financial services sector. They are one of the most data-intensive sectors in the global economy. And a lot of data is stored about customers as well as employees, such as login data. And this data can be used to improve risk control, for example, to measure the degree of safe use of systems by employees or customers. And also anomalies can be detected, or, for example, effects on interventions can be demonstrated. Another trend is that there is a growing willingness and need to join forces with other parties, but also with competitors. And this is because importance and complexity of cybersecurity increases. And joining forces is becoming a more appealing answer to the increasing complexity of cyber attacks. And this is also what happens within the PCSI program. Joining forces can lead to a faster response to cybersecurity threats or opportunities. And for example, parties can execute trend hunting together for the unknown unknowns. And when sensitive data sharing is necessary, one of the solutions to secure is to make use of MPC, multi-party computation technology. Yeah, there's an increase in autonomous systems, and this results in an increase of the number of methods an attacker can use for cyber attacks. So for example, there's software that can carry out attacks autonomously and report it back to the malicious parties. And yeah, it offers also possibilities on the defender side, especially because the cybersecurity incident management in general is now still a predominantly human-based process. So in order to deal with autonomous attacks, automated cybersecurity is also required. Automation and advanced analytics can be used to manage the rising cost to discover attacks and effectively monitoring security. There's a transition to going more to prevention-based security because there is a growing gap between attackers' odds and defender strategy. And this cannot be bridged with recovery tools alone. So prevention of breaches becomes increasingly important in the face of more sophisticated attacks. So prevention measures are becoming crucial. And therefore, financials and other large corporations need to acquire expertise and capabilities to preemptively counteract cyber attacks. For example, knowledge on which attacks can be more easily performed and are thus more likely to occur. Yeah, there's a growth in relying on third parties. Right now, financial institutes are working together with software vendors, equipment vendors, also customer service vendors. And these vendors can support financial institutes as well as be a threat to them. Yeah, vendors can have access to critical banking and client data, while maybe lack stringent security policies and transparency about this. And another threat is that products can get attacked or hacked already earlier in the supply chain, and leading to intentional or unintentional danger, or maybe unnoticed danger in supplied hardware and software, but also in software updates. Yeah, besides data theft, also data manipulation attacks occur. And in this case, a threat actor gains access to a target system and makes undetected changes to the data. for their own gain. And because manipulated data does not look any different than normal data, these attacks are extremely difficult to detect and to prevent. And yeah, of course, the manipulation of information can have major consequences and is particularly risky in sectors where information is often mutated, such as the financial sector. This can lead to non-compliance with data standards and can lead to substantial fines. The next trend is about software development. The waterfall methodology is increasingly making room for the agile manner of software development. And waterfall is a linear sequential life cycle model, whereas agile is a continuous iteration of development and testing in the software development process. Now, these changing manners of development brings as well opportunities as threats. And at least it is important to have developing processes that guarantee secure products. And the risk with generic software development is that it does not take security by design into account, and that can lead to less secure software. Yeah, there's a maturing process going on of quantum technology, and once quantum technology arises on the market, all cryptographic security information can be decrypted. And that's why organizations need to prepare for this by already making the infrastructure quantum safe. And the risk of quantum decryption creates cybersecurity problems for especially sensitive information, which might be on the short list of attackers who are powerful enough to soon possess full-scale quantum computing tools. And to deal with this, a migration strategy is necessary for organizations who have this sensitive data. Then the last trend, that one is about the growing role of red teaming. So more and more people are helping organizations by simulating a potential cyber attack. And they try to hack organizations not to do harm, but to help by pointing out the weaknesses of the systems of the organizations. And simulating a potential cyber attack allows business to ensure that the proper safeguards are in place. So this brings us to the overview of the top 10. The complete radar has 23 more trends left. But how actually did we create this radar? Well, we went to the following process steps. And first of all, we did a search for the most important trends, and we did this by a literature study, as well as we had interviews with cybersecurity experts from TNO, as well as external parties. And then we made, from the long list, a short list. So we started with around 70 trends, but to make it more manageable, we've shortened this list by making a selection of 33 trends together with experts. And then we did an online survey with cybersecurity experts from the participating organizations, and we asked them for their opinions. And then we made the analysis of the survey. So we looked deeper into the degree of relevance per trend based on the expected impact and the expected fit with the PCSI program. And also we looked at the degree of agreement between respondents. And then we made the radar. So now we are going to the interactive part where you need your phone. And Virag Szijjarto will lead you through the process of that.
Okay, so yes, this will be the Trend Radar experience. So you can see how it is to be an expert who is asked to help us develop this radar. So we will focus on 2 trends. And about both of these trends, you will be asked 3 questions. So the trends will be the growing use of AI applications and the growing importance of human factor. And about both of them, the questions will be whether this trend is mainly an opportunity or a threat for your organization, how high the expected impact would be of this trend for your organization, and how suitable this trend is as a topic for collaborative innovation. Yes, so this will be the first one, the first trend, growing use of AI applications. Please all get your phones and go to menti.com, and there you will see, soon you will see the code which you need to use to log in. Yes. So this will be the first question about the growing use of AI, this trend. So is this trend mainly an opportunity, a threat, or both for your organization? Yes, and now take a moment to go to Menti and use the code, and then we will see the results here. So far, pretty very similar results. Let's wait for some more people to participate. I hope it works for everyone to go to Menti and use the code, which you can see at the top. All right. Okay, so we can see that most people voted both. Some people voted opportunity. And here you can see how the experts who we asked voted about this question. So you can see it's a bit different. So, Corine, Reinder, what do you think about the answers?
Yeah, so actually this also shows the majority thinks it's both an opportunity and a threat. And I think this is also a very valid point. There's a little more that think it's both a threat and an opportunity. And I think the same because what we see is that attackers increasingly use this kind of technology also to implement their attacks. Also, we need to use it in our defenses to become prepared for those kind of attacks. So I think this is a very valid outcome. I don't know, Corine, if you have something to add.
Yeah, I think so too, that it has an opportunity as well as a threat for most of the organizations. And for each organization, it can be a bit different. So it's good to think about what the balance is in your own organization and which part needs the most attention to deal with it the best way for your cybersecurity.
And what we already saw in the shared research program is that we actually are applying those techniques, AI and machine learning kind of techniques already in the methods we develop. So this is certainly an opportunity. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for the comments. Okay, well then we can move on to the next question, which is about the expected impact of this trend on your organization. Would this be low or very high, somewhere in between? Please vote on your phones. By the way, if you don't have your phone, you can also use it in your browser, if that's easier for you. All right, already 16 votes. Right, somewhere in the middle range. So from middle to very high, the impact. So here you can see how you voted. And this is how the experts have voted on this question.
And it seems that our audience is a little bit more reluctant of voting to high impact. So our experts thought it was a little bit higher, the impact, but actually I think I do agree with the public of this webinar because obviously AI will have impact, but how high, that's difficult to say in the future. And I think it's also a subject which, of course, is quite hyped in the recent years. So, yeah, I tend to agree with this picture more than the picture we got from our experts. And Corine, what do you think?
Yeah, indeed, it's a little less impact according to the people right now for their organizations. And indeed, what you say, there's a lot of hype around this subject. So also outside the cybersecurity domain, there are large projects and collaborations in this area because of the expected large impact. But yeah, of course, we also have to see how exactly is that.
Yeah. Thanks. Then we go to the next one, and that will be about if this topic is suitable for collaborative innovation or not. So again, you can vote if you think it has very low potential or very high potential or anywhere in between. And we're still talking about the trend, the growing use of AI. Just to be clear. Votes coming in, seems quite steady so far. Yeah, so in general, people vote quite high potential. Let's see what the experts said. It's again quite similar. What do you think about this?
Yeah, this is indeed quite similar, and experience of the shared research program also shows that in fact, this is a very suitable subject for collaborative innovation, because we see a nice, interesting mix of or combination of theoretical knowledge, which comes mainly from TNO, and practical questions and data we need for these kind of applications and methodologies. So this is a very, also in my opinion, very suitable subject to do collaborative innovation on.
Yeah, indeed. And you can share your data, develop together the algorithms, or train the algorithms within multiple organizations. So I think so too, yes.
Thanks. Yeah, nice to see these answers. All right, and then we can move on to the next trend, which is the growing importance of human factor. And here you can see written what we mean with that in this case. Here it says people are more vulnerable due to the rise in phishing, ransomware, and malicious insider attacks. And human behavior is one of the greatest risks for cybersecurity. So this is the trend, growing importance of human factor. If you're still in Mentimeter, you can use the same code to answer the first question about this trend, if you think it's mainly an opportunity, a threat, or both for your organization. So let's see how it is in the organizations of the audience. Here the answers are a bit more divided than, let's say, I. So yes, the human factor is also, so far looks like mainly both. Let's see what the experts said about this. Yeah, so mainly threat and both. Corine, what do you think about that?
Yeah, so during the survey, the majority scored it as a threat. Yeah, and what we know is human behavior can lead to financial losses or reputational damage. And yeah, as you already told, the human factor is seen as one of the greatest risks, as well as, so on the other hand, it's also one of the best defense. So therefore, it's also important to give customers or employees more awareness of cyber threats and also perspective of actions that can be taken.
Yeah, what I see is that our webinar audience has a little bit more faith in human being than our experts seems, because they see it a little bit more as an opportunity. So, and I think, yeah, it's both a threat and an opportunity, like Corine said. I mean, the human being is seen sometimes as the weakest link in security, but of course, the weakest link can be anywhere. And yeah, like Corine said, we need the creativity of people to increase defense levels. So I agree that it should be both, mainly.
Yeah, thanks for your comments. And then the next question will be how high the expected impact is of this trend for your organization. Very low, very high, or somewhere in between. Right, let's wait for a few more votes maybe. It also seems like people think the expected impact is quite high for their organizations. Yeah, and here we can see how it went in the expert survey. It was a pretty steady answer as well. Reinder, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think it's a valid picture that the impact of human factor is growing. On the other hand, you could argue that with the increasing automation we aim to do, that you could say, well, the importance of human factor is decreasing. But I think that there's a lot of work to do. So I think that this is a nice view that resembles more or less the picture of our experts. But I think we have to fight on both areas. So we have to better equip people with mechanisms to be better prepared against cyber attacks, and at the same time we have to use automation as much as possible to support people in that. So I think it's a balanced question, this, but I agree with the overall picture here.
Yeah, and it depends also on the status of automation level for each organization.
Yeah, it's true. It's also very specific. If you look at an SME, or you look at a large organization as ABN AMRO, they have very different maturity, for example, to instruct and train people to be better aware.
Yes.
Yeah, that also matters, of course. All right, let's go to the last question, actually. So how suitable is this trend as a topic for collaborative innovation? What do you all think? Growing importance of human factor. So far, the answers were quite similar to what the experts were thinking. Let's see if this is the case here as well. And again, voted quite high. So you think it is suitable. Let's see here. This was what we got from the experts. There's a bit different, maybe. Any comments on this?
Yeah, I think our experts think it's a little bit less fit with collaborative innovation. But I think maybe we should separate between, as we experience in the shared research program, it's very good subject to collaboratively develop methodologies, for example, to measure awareness, to define new interventions. But I think it's up to each individual organization in the end to apply those methods. So it's more or less a combination. And like we see in the financial world, they have the betaalvereniging, which also collectively does awareness activities amongst their customers. So it's a mix. I think it's a very suitable subject to develop new methodologies. And I think there's an individual organization responsibility in applying those methodologies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corine, any additions to that?
Sorry?
Any additions to that? Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I think also this suits good for innovate together. For example, to improve the security systems by building in feedback loops to learn from the security mistakes made in the past. And I think this can be done together.
All right. Yes, this was the final question, which in the trend radar experience. So I'll stop sharing my screen and give it back to Corine.
Yes, thank you. And I would like to share my screen again.
Yeah, I see it.
So, yeah, okay, perfect. Well, I want to share some facts about the cybersecurity radar. So the radar is a reflection of opinions, and therefore it's also important to involve the right people. Furthermore, the radar is static while the environment is dynamic, so it needs to be updated. And that's also what we do every half year, and also when new parties are involved. The trends have different levels of abstractions, as you may have noticed. Sometimes it's broad and sometimes it's smaller. And when a trend goes into the ideation phase, the abstraction level goes down due to the concreter projects that come out of it. And for some of the trends, the opinions from the surveys were not aligned when the standard deviation was quite high on level of impact, the strategic fit, or both. And it may be interesting to further discuss these trends with the respondents to determine where these differences come from. Sometimes it is necessary to redefine the trend or split it into 2 or more sub-trends and then score again. Then lastly, I want to say something about what came out of the radar within the PCSI program so far. During a team selection meeting with the CISOs, the Chief Information Security Officers of the participating organizations and TNO, the final top 3 of the trends were chosen. And here is the top 3. And coming in at first place, in this case, actually, is a shared gold medal. It's about the increasingly rely on third parties in combination with the growth of outsourcing of IT services. And the second one, it's the increasing use of agile software development. And the third one, the growing use of AI applications. And as you maybe remember, those trends were all in the top 10 of the trend radar, but in this case, they were not the top 3. So the radar here is used as an inspiration, and the CISOs took also their own opinions into account. Okay, then I want to mention 3 projects which came out of the latest team selection. And the first one is the Joint Practices for Security in Agile. This project aims to develop joint security best practices for CI/CD change. And the idea is to set up a sharing platform for the joint development of security best practices, starting with the PCSI partners and then expanding to a national or even an international level. The next one is the metrics to trust suppliers. This project aims to develop a validated third-party risk metric model based on already available metrics that is flexible, expandable, maintainable, and delivers actionable results. And the goal is to make it available and usable by all companies. The last one, collaborative fleet. This project aims to monitor behavior in order to map the way attacks work, the attackers work. And the idea of this project is to combine information from multiple parties and thus get a better picture of the attackers and their methods. And through collaboration and information sharing, strategic insights are obtained that individual organizations would not be able to obtain otherwise. And also the possibilities of involving an external party will be explicitly investigated here. So what did we learn today? We learned a bit about the trend radar as an important starting point for the innovation cycle within the PCSI program. Also about the cybersecurity radar and how it's developed and some of the trends of the radar. And lastly, which trends were chosen and what kind of cybersecurity innovation projects came out of the radar. Now I would like to give the word again to Reinder. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Corine. So we wanted just to have one final remark about partnerships. So this partnership currently is a joint venture of TNO and parties from the financial sector. But like I explained in the beginning, we would like to expand this partnership. So we are actively looking for new partners, new core partners from other sectors too. And to join us in this collaborative innovation for cybersecurity. And like we explained, it has the advantage that you can jointly do projects. There's a shared budget. There's also funding from the government, from the top sector, TKI funding. So each contribution is matched at the same, so 50% matched. 100% match actually, so each the partners pay collectively half of the budget and the government pays half of the budget. And of course we offer then a shared learning experience. What we experience from the partners is that by contributing and taking part in projects, they learn a lot. Beside the core partnership, so there's a contribution in cash and in kind, and beside the core partnership, we also are building an ecosystem around the PCSI, consisting of end users, universities, vendors, and the goal is to share what we develop in the PCSI, but also the goal is to involve specific partners in specific projects when this is a good opportunity. For example, a vendor in the exploitation phase or a university in the explore phase. So we actively want to really do open innovation. And could you move to the next slide, Corine, maybe? Thank you. Yeah. So I think we have a unique cooperation here. And this is also what Martijn Dekker, one of the people from our steering committee, says. That's very important to do these kind of things, to do innovation, to do collaborative innovation. And I think what we have here is a unique collaboration in the Netherlands, doing innovation on cybersecurity at this level and on collaboratively. I did not see it anywhere else. So last slide then, Corine. The question slide. So Virag, do we have any questions which we should address at this moment?
Yes, actually there's not that many questions. So nothing that I can pass on to you right now. If somebody still has some questions, don't hesitate to get in touch. We can also answer them later.
Yeah, I think we will publish them on the website when there are additional questions, and we'll also produce a video of this webinar.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I see one question coming in now. Is it possible for a local government to join?
This is a good question. This is a little bit tricky because, like I said, part of the funding comes from the government, and not the local government, of course, but the national government. We have to look into that. If you get in touch, then you can look into ways of collaboration, either as core partner or a partner in the ecosystem. When you want to join the ecosystem, there's no financial contribution at all. So that's also a possibility. But if you get in contact, the contact details will follow, I think, on the last slide. Then we can discuss this. So if you want to know...
Thanks for answering. There's one more question now. Okay. Just I think we can still answer that one. So how can new topics be introduced for the cybersecurity radar?
Well, in principle, it's a matter of the partners in the PCSI that are participating who collectively decide what themes will be on the security radar. So like Corine explained, we have asked our partners to contribute themes, and then we have rated them. So, but we also here we want to also stimulate openness towards the outside world. So if you think that on the current security radar important themes are missing, also please get in contact with us, because then we can discuss this internally also with the other partners. And of course we want to have a security radar that is as complete as possible, but also a security radar that is relevant to the current partners in the PCSI. So what I would expect if we do have partners outside the financial sector, then the security radar also might change a little bit, because there could be some different interests there. But also here, please get in contact and we'll discuss this.
Yes, thanks for the answer. And then maybe one final question. Somebody asked if it's possible to get some more details about the projects, and if it's possible for new partners to be involved in the existing projects.
The last question is yes, of course. If you are now joining the program, of course you can immediately participate in all the running projects. The first question is, yes, we want to be, like I said, as open as possible, but we also have to make sure that we don't give away information that is maybe sensitive to one of our partners. So in principle, we share as much as possible, with some constraints on some information that we consider to be confidential. So I think we will soon share some more information about the projects also on the website. And I think we have plans also to start things like a blog on the running projects. So yes, we want to share with some small limitation.
Clear. And then the last question, just to have them all finished. It's how can an IT security vendor participate for local customers?
Yeah, like I said, we want to involve partners like security vendors where they are relevant. I know in the beginning of the shared research program, Fox IT participated in one project, for example. So we look at each project individually and see whether an external party can contribute something which we do not have already in the PCSI or at one of the partners. So like the example I just gave is when we are in the exploit phase and we have developed a new methodology, we want to implement this in a product, that would typically be a phase where a vendor would be involved, or for example in a proof concept where we could use a product made by a vendor to implement the proof concept more effectively and efficiently. That would typically be places where we would very much welcome, for example, a specific vendor which has a specific solution that fits the project we are currently doing.
All right, thanks for the answer. And thanks for the questions. We're through all of them.
Okay, then we conclude the webinar, and thanks for listening. Thanks for participating, and we will do more webinars like this. So hopefully see you also in the future.